Hi everyone, today is the last day of the week for me. It is Sunday and I didn't film too much today because my week mornings are pretty similar. I just do the minis and then I go and see Dave. So we're going to start off with Dave today. As I mentioned before, he had a steroid injection in his back and he had 24 hours off before being brought back into work. Now I'm still not riding him because he has a sore back, but I'm going to start lunging him, and today was the first time I lunged him since he had that injection done. So it goes a little bit interesting, as you will see in a minute, but it's good entertainment. It shows the quirky side of Dave, that's for sure. I always start off by putting his brushing boots and overreach boots on, and then I go to put his bridle on, and this is just his normal everyday snaffle bridle. He can be a little bit awkward to actually get the bit in, but he eventually gives in. Dave is actually missing 2 bottom teeth from being kicked as a foal. He's got missing part of the jaw as well, so I tend to just put my finger in that and he then opens his mouth. Then I put my lunge line on and we're ready to go. So I start off by warming him up in walk and then trotting, and as you can probably tell, he's not 100% sound. He does look he's not noticeably unsound unless you know him very well, but he just looks uncomfortable. You can see how short his stride is and how high his head is. So I was actually recording as well so I could see how he was moving after this steroid injection. I usually lunge him in an equiame, which is basically a type of self-adjusting Pessoa, but today, as I just wanted him to relax and move properly so I can get a look at him, I just had his bridle and lunge line on. So once I'm done on the left, I move him onto the right and I let him warm up in walk for a few laps first before putting him back into trot. He's definitely moving better on the right rein than the left, but this is where all the carnage began, so enjoy. When I was in hospital a few years ago having my gallbladder removed, Dave actually went off to be ridden by a professional rider. It did not go very well. I will not talk about that, but he's home and safe now. But unfortunately he came home with a few weird habits, and this lunging one is one of them. He used to be an angel to lunge, and now he will throw an absolute hissy fit about 5 minutes into lunging. All I'm doing is just kind of giving him an option to carry on moving forward before I start getting after him. I just open my hand up, move his front end to the right direction, and just allow him to think, but of course he is now backing up to move his back end away from me, so I can't get behind him to ask him to move forward, but he makes a good decision there and carries on for about 5 seconds. And again, I'm doing the same thing, just allowing him to make a choice, and I moved him, just walked him down further towards this end again where I wanted him, and started again, keeping a short line to his mouth so I can keep control of the front end as he's walking back, and I'm just slowly moving towards his back end and trying to get him to yield to me. So Dave's a big clever horse. He knows how to get away with everything, so he knows to move the front end forward and the back end around to get away from me. He's just a very, very smart boy. And he's also very reactive, so you have to be quite calm in the way you deal with it and let him decide. He knows what he's being asked, but you have to let him decide when it's time to move on. So he'll yield for about 3 seconds and then go backwards again. Now, this entire clip is probably about 10 minutes long of him just continually doing this. And I have to get a little bit tougher on him sometimes because he is being a little bit cheeky, I have to say. He'll move on for about 2 seconds and then carry on with the hissy fit. I've worked out with him, if you just do the same thing, which is just hold his front end, trying to yield his back end round, he eventually does give in. You just have to be very patient and carry on doing it even when he's being a brat. And he gets himself a little bit upset at times, and you can see here where the freshness comes through because he's getting angry. But my energy is low and I'm not doing anything to scare him. It's just he's a very, very reactive horse. A lot of people think he's really chilled and calm and easy, but honestly, he's not the easiest horse to deal with, and the very few people that have ridden him will know that he's incredibly quirky. So eventually, after that 10 minutes, he gives in and we get some lovely trot going. He's moving a lot better, more forward and just stretching down a bit more. And this is where it goes into like his full-blown canter to stop moment. This is what he usually does when we lunge, is he will take off a full-blown gallop and then just slam the brakes on. But at this point he's responding. I give him the choice to move forward before I chase him, and he does, which is good. Now here he was naughty. I actually spoke to someone walking past in the field. They were asking if it was okay to bring the dogs past. I said yes. Took my concentration off him for 1 second and he went, okay, I'm going to stop now. So that is Dave taking the mick there. But it was good because he just carried on afterwards once I had my concentration back on him. And he's given me a few little canter stops here and there, but it's good because he's moving forward and choosing to go forward when I do ask. When he does it and he's moving backwards too far away from me, I just shorten my line and we just restart. Once he gives me a few continuous laps of trot without any brat attacks, I then call it a day and give him a pat because he did what I asked, which is just going forward without being silly. But yeah, that was definitely an interesting session, that's for sure. Once I was done with Dave, I then walked over to Zara's yard, and today we are going to be getting on board for the first time. I've been lunging her all week, but today is the first time I'm ever going to ride her, and the first time she's been ridden in probably 2 years. So, of course, for safety reasons, I start by lunging her in her tack. When restarting or backing horses, I always make sure I lunge them quite well first before getting on board, just to make sure they're okay with the saddle, but also to get any energy out before I put my life in their hands. And as you can probably tell from the very first videos of the week of Zara lunging compared to now, she is moving much better already. She obviously is very, very unfit still, so we're not doing any canter work, but she's moving better and more relaxed. So once she does her lunge on 5 minutes either side, we then prep to get on board. And she was good as gold to get on. Walked off from the box before I was ready, but not a problem, very relaxed with me in the saddle. So we just started off with a lot of walk, just very gentle, barely any contact, and she was good. She was very, very relaxed. She's super soft in the neck and stretchy. Did a few changes of the rein just to make sure she was okay on both sides, and you can see here how lovely and soft she is, even when she hasn't been ridden for 2 years. Her saddle is not a great fit for me. It sits me back a little bit too far. I have long legs and a skinny body, so I ride in quite a small saddle size, but it's fine just for what we were doing here. And then we tried trot, and this is her very, very first trot in 2 years. Nice and easy, very sweet horse. She rides a little bit like a 4-year-old that's just come back into work, so even though she's 13, she is not the most experienced horse. She's very, very green, but she's doing super well. She has turns, she has breaks, she has the basics. Just stay soft in her mouth and then she's fine. And as you can see there, her transition, she kind of tucks her butt under herself a little bit, and that's just strength issues with her for not being ridden for 2 years. We did the whole menage every now and then, didn't do it too often just because the menage isn't so great down there, but she was good. She's lovely and straight as well, which Dave is not, so that was quite enjoyable, having a horse that goes in a straight line. She does tend to overbend, which is again a strength issue without having muscle to hold herself in the right position. So every now and then I just correct her by lifting my hands up, as you don't want them to tuck their nose to their chest. You can see it here, me just lifting my hands slightly and putting my leg on. But honestly, she's a really sweet horse. She did really well, and we left it at that after just a few trots either side, because she's very unfit and I didn't want to push it as well with her saddle not being the best fit as it is. So that was my entire Sunday, and then I went home and finished off the minis. Hi everyone, I just wanted to film an outro whilst I was editing this video, because I actually filmed this whole series quite a while ago and I never finished the rest of it until now because we had a family bereavement, which was not fun, and then all 3 of my horses were in the vets, so that was also not fun. But we're all good now, everyone's home and safe for now. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for the support that you've given me on these videos, and I will try and carry on with as much content as I can. But Dave is out of work and the minis aren't really doing anything except having a winter holiday, so I will find things to film at some point, but they don't quite look like this anymore and they are in their winter woolies. But thank you anyway, and I will see you soon.